Welcome to a new edition of Design for the Times. I'm your host, Richard Christopher Scuderi. And speaking of Richards, we have dual Richards in studio. Can make a joke with that, but I probably won't. And his name is Richard Kolbe, and he is with a wonderful, I think, shopping experience. I can't necessarily say a store, but if you're familiar with Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is probably one of the most beautiful places that you can be in, specifically in the different seasons, his company is called F.P. Colby, and it's this wonderful old, I guess originally inn, that is now a store that sells such unusual things. I had to get him onto our program. Welcome to our program.
Thank you very much, Richard.
So I guess I want to start by talking about your origin into selling very unusual things, and then the transition to the building which is it's its own sort of thing that we'll talk about. Because I do believe, because you did my radio show on WHCRDB, that we talked about that it was your grandfather?
My great-grandfather was the first owner of the first department store in Doylestown.
Right, so it started with retailing in Doylestown long before you came to Point Pleasant, Pennsylvania.
Right.
So tell me how that all began. What happened with your grandfather?
So my grandfather, he lost his father when he was an infant in a tragic accident on his site in Doylestown. But he bought the Point Pleasant location in the early 40s and ran everything from a hotel to a auction house up there for many years through the 60s and 70s.
So he bought the place that's your store, F.P. Colby, in the 40s.
Right.
When he purchased it, what was it? Had it been an inn? Because it wasn't the origin of the building, it was an inn, right?
Right, built in 1780s. It was the midpoint between New York City and Philadelphia.
And on the water, on
right,
the river.
And back then Point Pleasant was, the one in Pennsylvania was more well known than the one in Jersey because of its location as a midpoint between Easton and Philadelphia, and also New York City and Philadelphia. But after he had bought it in the 40s, it had been a residence for about 20 years. The tavern stayed open until the 20s. The inn stayed open until about the automobile in the early 1900s. They built the iron bridges, diverted a lot of traffic from the town. So it went from being a big throughway to being more of a hamlet.
Right.
And since the 20s and the tavern closed, various families have raised their families there. But it's been in my family since about 80 years now.
I can't believe how big it is. In fact, I walked it, probably in January, I think, with your wife, and we went through you have the cafe, and we'll talk about that for an experience. But I just walked the main level. It's tremendous.
Yeah,
you have an approximate
big old federal building. I'm guessing each level is probably about 4,000 to 4,500 square feet.
Yeah, it's got to be at least 4,000.
Second and third floor as well.
Now, do you live on the site?
We just recently moved down there in January, actually.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, my house has been on the market. It sold on Saturday. So,
congratulations.
Yeah, very happy about that.
So I thought there's sort of a home court advantage with that, with what you do if you're on site, I think.
That and we've been a destination shop since my grandfather bought it. The location draws not only customers, but I meet a lot of people that end up being suppliers. Because I'm such an eclectic store that I'll sell just about anything I think would interest people.
Right, and you do sell a lot of stuff. Now, my background is I'm a contractor, interior designer, home stager. So I'm often doing projects for realtors or developers to give things curb appeal. And what drew me to your place specifically was the things that you have outside. Now, there's so much more than just what you have outside, but you do have quite a bit of property that has things like beautiful planters that are unusual and fountains. I purchased my own fountain from my house 15 years ago from your property, and iron gates and statues and lots of wrought iron and all, different outdoor things.
We've made a concerted effort to move toward product that it really is one of a kind.
Things that you can't find anywhere
Exactly,
else.
or are less shippable than others. Everybody is competing with Amazon and all the online companies. I will say I sell candles for $2 a candle less than Amazon. And when I say $2 less, from $10.98 to $8.95. So it's not like a $30 candle that you get for $28.
No, and it's also a great gift place. So if you want to give a gift, instead of going to some random store, get a candle from your place in itself is an experience and it's a gift.
Oh, exactly. The experience of shopping there is like nothing, and every year less and less stores like mine exist, so people come from even further than they did in the past. But we draw from Connecticut all the way down to Maryland and Montgomery County all the way through Hunterdon County.
See, now I can see why, because it's very specific. Now, I'm of the, we're probably of the same generation, but of the generation where we shopped. It was tactile. You looked at it, you discerned quality. I'm very sad to feel that including our generation, which does it now, but also the newer generations don't discern, I believe, don't always discern when it comes to physical things, quality. And you can't discern quality. You certainly can't discern color. There are a lot of things you can't discern over the computer screen. And I'm very sad. So I ever have an opportunity with my radio show and television show, I really try to promote retail businesses that are unique, because I don't want to see them go away. I mean, we have to realize that these things are gems.
Yes.
And when every day you see another place closing and another place closing, we're really losing something by not supporting these places.
Don't be sad. I'm heartened every day I have somebody walk through my doors that's never been there before, because our location is both a curse and a blessing. If the road gets closed, we're always in bad shape because of the access. However, millennials and Generation Zers, while they may ghost their employers, they are genuinely excited when they find a place like mine, because just like you said, they're used to shopping online and not having that physical experience of actually, taking the time to enjoy themselves while they're out with their loved ones or their friends or whomever.
Exactly.
So it's something that they don't get to do on a regular basis, and I think it broadens their horizons.
Absolutely.
So as they come through, I think in the future more and more will have an appreciation. Everybody will be disappointed by something they buy online, and that will reinforce brick and mortar.
Physical shopping.
I'm not foolish enough to think that the trend is to brick and mortar. You mentioned Macy's; they're dropping stores, and
Barney's is closing.
The retail landscape is turning into urgent healthcare centers and CVS's, and but on the bright side, it makes my place more unique and more worth visiting.
Very much so, and you've sort of decorated our studio, our set, with some wonderful products.
I brought a sample.
Before we do the inside, I really want to get to the extent, because I think it's so interesting, and it's worth it if you own a home or you have some property to take a trip, just on how unique some of the outside stuff is. So you have great planters, and for myself, I bought, I have about 5 acres, but I'm very far back from the road. So I love the opportunity to do some plantings. I had to build some high fencing and things that I could display some stuff, because of course we're in a deer run. But I got some wonderful iron pots through your place that have stand up the test of time, painted out every couple of years. Is most of your stuff, as far as the planters, cement? Because I bought some cement pots too, mostly iron. What are you carrying mostly when it comes to planters?
I carry a full line of cement planters from 8 different manufacturers across the country, all American made. I carry a full line of heavy-duty Vietnamese pottery that's as durable as cement, and of course the line of iron. I won't bring anything onto my lot that I won't feel comfortable about, leaving out and in the weather throughout the seasons. That being said, Italian terracotta, which I still carry a full line of, needs to be protected in the winter. But if you come in and you're looking for something that you can just stick somewhere and not worry about it, I won't steer you towards something that needs more care than something else.
Now, also, so we talked about fountains, we talked about pots, we talked about gates. What else on the outside for people to take a look at?
Well, this year I have a full line of beautiful stainless steel gazing globes.
Nice.
Which are impervious to the weather year-round. And I carry the glass gazing globes that are made over in Puxatawney, where Phil just didn't see his shadow. So we got a early spring, which is nice, although it feels like we've had spring all winter this year.
For sure, absolutely. Are people starting out earlier, or are you busier outside because it's been so warm on the weekends?
Yes, the weekends and even today. I wasn't planning on opening. This time of year, we're closed Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But I had some work to do. I had to get together, some samples. I opened the doors, and I had a half a dozen people, there and buying planters. Actually, ironically, yeah.
Let's talk about some of the your retail space inside and some of the things you do. Your product line is so varied. The area that it was, I guess, originally that front porch, there's so many things. If you're looking for maybe flags, if you're looking for LED, beautiful outdoor lights, I mean, there's such, I can't even imagine your inventory of product line. Let's talk about some of the products.
Sure.
And you were generous enough, maybe talk about some of the interesting and unusual things that you do have to offer.
Certainly.
So what do we have here?
Well, in local lines, I carry a local line of candles from made right in Point Pleasant called Riverwick, and that's a palm wax-based candle. Burns extremely cleanly, and is a beautiful. That's the short one. They also come in a full-size one that makes a nice straw holder afterward.
But this is the weight of this. Something that you're not going to get on the internet. This is a substantial gift. If you were going to somebody's house for dinner and you brought this wrapped, this is really a nice gift.
Yeah,
a beautiful bag
for under $20. Exactly.
For this is a substantial gift. Very nice. Now, what about the one that's like a? What about the one that's like a jar?
Okay, this item made up in the Erie, New York area of Western Pennsylvania and New York. A soy-based candle. This was the one I mentioned that on Amazon goes for $10.98, free shipping. However, we sell them 4 for $32.95, which works out to $8 1/4 a piece.
Right.
A fantastic candle. The most bang for your buck. You get 100 hours out of that candle, and again, under $9.
What's the advantage? This is very nice too. What's the advantage between a soy candle and a regular wax candle?
Well, a regular wax candle is paraffin, and paraffin, even in its purest form, will have a certain amount of soot produced. So soy candles, palm candles, while they don't work well in tapers and pillars because they're a little soft, are a perfect vehicle for giving off aroma.
I find that people are using candles as much as ever, but also in a different way. Whereas in the beginning of my career, people were buying freestanding, like thick little candles.
Right, votives. Yeah.
Right, without a container and then doing stuff. I see people buying things that are more self-contained in glass. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it has probably mostly to do with safety. Yeah. People are, but honestly, for all the fires started across the country, electricity is the #1 cause of those fires.
Oh, not necessarily that.
Unintended candles. However, don't leave your candles unattended.
Now, do you do any LED candles?
Yeah, we do a full line of battery-operated candles.
Did you fight that? Because in the beginning, LED candles were terrible. Now they've gotten a lot better.
That's a point you bring up. A lot of times you need a 18-month to 36-month window of perfecting a product, especially when you're dealing with something from overseas, which the majority of LED candles come from. But fight it? No. I'm always looking for something new and interesting that will excite my customer base.
Sure.
Yeah. So sure. I don't stay away from things that I don't understand or am afraid of that I think are interesting. Right. Because, like I said, I carry a little of this and a lot of that. Because,
well, you have a lot of lines of candles.
Oh, geez, candle lines alone. We still do colonial candle. They've been around since the early 18th century.
Right.
We carry, 6 different jar candles. We're bringing in a new line called milk can candles that come in a little milk jar that comes with a removable rubber lid that once you're done the candle is perfect as a creamer or even a self-serve amount of milk if you take it in your lunchbox or whatever.
So it really lends itself to, again, being gifts. Now, if I defer a little bit, I brought up about LED. I actually physically bought these. And I think some people probably know, I'll let you hold it up on your camera in a second, but these are terrific. And I did a project at Christmas time. I had to decorate on the Upper East Side, I had to decorate a commercial space, and I had sort of white painted wicker figures of reindeer. And then I wanted to illuminate them, so I used these. I bought some of these from you, and then I did some mason jars and filled the bottom with something white that covered the the base here, the base of this, the battery, and then these are terrific and really inexpensive. So I want to talk about what these are.
So it's a single AA battery light. It completely submersible. They were made to go into wine bottles, and you can submerge up. Yeah. So once you open your wine bottle, pour a glass out, you can stick this in it and light it up, so it's a little more festive. However, I bought them mainly because a lot of people buy gargoyles from me, one of the cement lines that I carry, and I thought it would make a nice chain around his neck. And I've had one out on a gargoyle. I've sold the gargoyle a few times, but the same unit out there for 3 years. $3.99 has a timer, so it'll burn for 7 hours and then go off automatically, come on its own. And again,
for that money, and it has a timer.
Yeah, great for doing wreaths or
well, that's one of the things that I wanted to mention for people that have a wreath on their front door, and especially in the dark winter months, and they want to illuminate it at night and not have to deal with sort of all sorts of things going on. What a great way to just sort of stick that in there and be able to illuminate it and have a soft light around
you can
it.
make your house a smart house without spending $10,000 to upgrade the electric and everything else in it. The units are getting extremely durable and long-lasting. A battery will last you, 2 months, which
and with something like that has a timer, you can have that go on at maybe 7 o'clock and go off at like 10 o'clock,
exactly.
And then you have that every night.
You don't have to worry about it. Yep,
exactly.
Just turn it on and go.
Let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay, so you mentioned our cafe. We opened Memorial Day.
Well, I think you're a coffee guy, right?
Oh boy,
I'm a coffee guy. So
I'm a connoisseur of coffee. Every country I go to, I try their indigenous coffees. This company is only 10 miles north of us along the river, called Homestead Roasters. The line of coffee that we carry on a regular basis, or serve that is called Black Eddie's Darkness, because it's brewed up in Upper Black Eddy.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, our town was Lower Black Eddy back before they changed the name in 1850s to Point Pleasant. So it's a locally made coffee, as good or better than any coffee being brewed in the area. I have people come from a long way away, to take some home with them. We carry the beans and pre-ground. And there's probably about 8 different varieties and 2 different decaffeinated varieties.
Wonderful. Again, another gift that's unusual and very specific to the area. Let's talk about this and some pottery. You have a lot of pottery.
Yes,
in your place, don't you?
Indoor pottery. This is all locally made. This artist is Gloria Costco. She lives a quarter mile up the road from me.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention was that you sponsor unique things that you're not going to see in a regular store, unique and local artisans.
Yep.
So this person again is?
Gloria Costco is her name.
But not related to Costco.
No, with a K. And she's a wonderful lady, been doing pottery her whole life. She teaches at the local college over in Bucks County. And then one of her best friends is Debra Tinsman.
Okay.
And she does this carved style pottery, and she lives directly across the bridge that goes across the Tohickey Creek from me.
Yeah, I've seen that name up there.
Yeah, she's right across from the post office.
Exactly. So something like this would be terrific. Like even in that's so unique and
this
specific.
is how we serve our espresso shots.
But even if you wanted to use these for succulents, today people are looking to do succulents all the time. They're low maintenance to get it. To be able to do something that doesn't have a succulent coming out of it after you use it, that could be really nice.
We have, it'd be an expensive succulent jar, but we do have, this year I'm going heavy on the succulent containers, and
people just love them.
Got lots of little pots that are all going to be under $2 a piece, and beautiful designs and styles.
Now I see a lot of Americana in your store. Let's talk about this. This is really terrific.
Okay, this is true Americana, made in America, from the Lancaster region.
Right.
We carry a large variety of birdhouses. And
now, could you do this outside, or would it have to sort of be protected?
It's made for outside, all wood. It's like anything else. If you put wood or iron or anything that's going to rust or peel outside, although this is a stain base, you want to come along and refinish it every few years.
Right, exactly. Really sharp looking. The colors are beautiful.
Yeah, $12. Yeah, $11.95.
I mean, how could you beat
Very
that? That's
inexpensive.
beautiful. I don't know if you want to actually pull that up.
This is a new item I'm bringing in this year. There's 5 different frames, from copper to galvanized. Let's see, there's an old wood frame,
okay,
a wicker frame, and anyway, it's a vertical garden. You can do herbs or succulents or even small fruit in this. It hangs on the wall, and if you see this, you water right in the back side of it, and it waters right down through the system. This whole tray pulls out, so it's very easy to plant.
Well, living walls are a very
popular. Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
We're going to have these set up this year to do caprese salads in the cafe with small cherry tomatoes and small bunches of lettuce.
Amazing, and it's protected with the metal in the back.
Yeah, fantastic item. Just picked those up, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And a full line of cocoa planters and some of the planters behind you under that Point Pleasant sign.
Exactly. Let's talk about some of the signs.
Sure.
I find that people love signs. Like, you know what? It's stuff like this in a laundry room, right? And I do a lot of laundry rooms and mud rooms. Something like this, under $30.
This is made in Ohio. You can do any street, any town, a laundry room, just about any combination that you want.
Exactly here. And then, of course, a lot of the
that tin pot there.
Okay.
$1.59. I was going to say, succulent planters. If you want to do something and resell it yourself, since they're so popular now, we have a large variety of tin planters.
But great to do some succulents
that are next
and make
to nothing.
A gift for somebody.
Yep, a full line of baskets. Another tin planter.
See, this with the green succulents would be awesome.
Right, $1.59. I just picked up, probably about 500 different little tin planters. And I deal with big nursery outfits that do things in large quantities, and I buy odd lots, and that's a lot. That's how I get a lot of my pottery, so I keep my prices to a reasonable amount.
I might steal this for myself at the end. That's pretty nice.
Oh, you can keep that one for yourself.
But a lot of again, things that are local. Things that are unique.
Now
tell me about that.
Sheepskin made in Charlottesville, Pennsylvania, by a gentleman. Pat Garrett is his stage name. He was a country music star back in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
And he's had this company since then.
Okay.
So all sewn right there. The sheep come from down south and even over in the UK and other places.
Wow.
But top of the line stuff, nothing more comfortable. These were the most popular gift at a recent shower that we went to.
Right. That could be cuter than that.
Oh yeah, it got
That's
passed around
amazing.
between from everybody.
And relatively reasonable.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. We're in 2020. We're in new times. People looking for new things. When people come to you, what are they usually asking you for? People come to F.P. Kolbe. And they're coming, what are they asking you for? What do you think that people are looking for?
Times do change, you're correct, Richard. But what I find is that when people are out shopping at my place, what they're looking for is quality.
Right.
Right? I think that what you touched on before, disappointment in what they've ordered or, seen. Or,
a lack of quality.
You don't see a lot of variety when you go to the box stores. They all carry pretty much the same thing, pretty much the same quality, pretty much the same price. So they're looking for, something unique. But the bottom line is something that they know will last or will at least have value when they give it as a gift. Like you mentioned the candle, it has real weight, it has, real intrinsic value.
Exactly.
So we really concentrate on carrying products that are not only unique but stand up to I want to be proud that I'm selling the item.
Also authentic, right? I see a lot of authenticity in products that you're promoting local artisans, and that it's something that's very specific. So when you get a gift or something for your own home from there, it's kind of special. We have a little bit less than 5 minutes left, so I want to talk a little bit about the cafe because I know that's something that you worked on for a really long time to do. Now you're captive, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure it might even grow a little bit more, I would assume. So let's talk about the cafe because it's a nice sized space. I went there in the middle of the day, maybe around 4 o'clock because I wanted to take some pictures for a promotion for the radio show that day. And they had some chili going and stuff. So tell me, when is the cafe open? Do you do brunch? Tell me all about the cafe.
Sure. So
great coffee to start. I saw great coffee there, and I had delicious coffee there.
We do a full line of coffee drinks. We do milkshakes and floats.
Is it open every day?
Open every day.
Okay.
Well, obviously in February it's closed the same time the store is closed.
Sure.
However, we do a full line of different paninis, all named after famous people who had stayed in the hotel, from Governor Stokes from New Jersey to Grover Cleveland, William McKinley, Astor and Vanderbilt families. A lot of dignitaries have stayed in that building.
So definitely someplace you could go for lunch.
Yeah, most comfortable setting. We have Wi-Fi and plenty of area to relax and
hang out,
have a conversation with your friends and loved ones, and then a good place to stroll through when you're waiting for your sandwich to be made.
Right. I got to go back and have a sandwich, but I had a really good cup of coffee.
Yeah. The chili is top of the line.
Chili looks good.
A wonderful girl named Corey is the cook, and she serves up coffee, all day long with a smile.
In our last, we have about 2.5 minutes. I wanted to talk about you have some fireplace settings. Things like andirons, other things that people might be looking for that would be maybe a good place to come to for
Sure.
fireplace screens. That
just ordered a fire back. In fact, it might be back at my place when I get back to Point Pleasant.
Right.
And that was for a local guy who couldn't find what he was looking for, and I showed him some samples, and he found one that he liked from the company that makes the samples, and we ordered it. And literally, I think I ordered that for him on Friday, and they had it on its way to me by Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
How about artwork?
We do a lot of different local artists. Some interesting iPhone creations that are on an aluminum frame.
Neat.
Almost like a Salvador Dali juxtaposed Bucks County scenes. And different local artists working in watercolors and oil paintings.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any events promoting any of the different artisans at your place?
Well, we do have different events. In fact, we have a girl who's going to have an art class at our place.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I think it's 4 2-hour sessions she's going to do, and that'll give you time to go through all the stages of painting, an acrylic painting from start to finish.
Oh, neat.
And she's going to do that class starting probably in April, I believe.
Terrific. So with just about a minute left, let's talk about, again, the name of your company. We'll go slow, we'll spell it, the address, and then information if you have a website, how to get to you. So it's F like Frank. Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
F as in Frank, P as in Paul, Colby, Kolbe. We're in Point Pleasant, Pennsylvania.
Is it number 6?
6 River Road.
Okay.
And we're 8 miles north of New Hope and 8 miles south of the Frenchtown Bridge.
And a phone number?
Phone number is 215-297-5666, and our website is fpcolby.com.
I really highly recommend this place. This is the place before I was even doing broadcasting that I would just send people to, because it's an experience. It's a fun for me. It was a fun trip on a Sunday to come up 32 along the river.
Well, we're right by the state park, by High Rocks, which is one of the prettiest spots in the county.
Absolutely.
Just 10 miles south of Ringing Rocks, which is a popular area.
I think you even have tubing in the summer around you, don't you?
The canoe and tube rental is right across the Little Iron Bridge from me.
Exactly, and it's really an experience, and I think because you've added that cafe.
Yep, all the kayakers come over now when they're in the area doing the Tohickon Creek.
Make that your destination. Have a cup of coffee or a nice lunch, and go to FP Kolbe. Thank you so much for being
You're welcome.
my guest.
I appreciate you having me, Richard.
Have a great day.
Yeah, and please come see us. Thank you very much, everyone.